Here in Nigeria, the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, in a formal notification, says all individual taxpayers, including self-employed individuals, employees under the pay-as-you-earn scheme, should file their annual tax returns on or before March the 31st. That's the end of this month of 2024. We're happy to have the Executive Chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Ayodele Subair, to discuss. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Rotas.
Yes. Taxes, revenue. Very, very important. As far as the deadline is concerned, how important is it that Lagosians comply?
It's very important that they comply because not only is it a constitutional obligation, it's also a legal obligation and also a moral or social obligation. It's important that everybody files their returns before the end of the deadline.
What specific type of tax is applicable to individuals?
Personal income tax is basically the main tax, and there are other subsets like withholding taxes.
Individuals subject to any type of deductions, or that's everybody's favorite topic, deductions or tax credits when filing their returns because they don't want to pay as much as it is. Are they eligible for any of those? Okay,
so when we talk about tax credits, usually it comes by way of prepayments. Perhaps they've made certain prepayments. For instance, if you have rental income and you have a tenant, your tenant is expected to withhold a certain percentage of the rent and remit on your behalf. So that becomes a credit to you. Also, if you have dividends in maybe a PLC, it's also subject to withholding tax deductions. So you're allowed to set that off your eventual tax liability. So those are the sort of incentives. There's also the fact that if you file within good time, then you're entitled to 1% discount of the tax payable.
Okay. So you get an incentive for filing early. The economy is what it is. People are involved in side hustles, sir, as you're aware. So if they've got various income streams coming from different areas, freelance work and the like, how do you report that?
Well, you're supposed to report your global income. So basically, whether you're in employment or you're in trade or vocation or some profession, you're expected to aggregate all the incomes from all the sources and report it truthfully.
What about, there's also a lot of talk of, Nigerians, especially in the tech space, who, as opposed to not having to jackpot and leave the country, they're working here and earning income from foreign companies and in US dollars, which is a lot of people like. How do they report that?
Well, all residents of Lagos are supposed to report all income, whether it's local income earned or foreign income earned. Now, we have a challenge with the local jackpots,
right,
as they are called. And they are expected to truthfully file what they're earning, even if it comes from offshore.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the deadline is 31st, right? Is there any, and I know we like to stick to deadlines so people don't, push it beyond, but is there any room for flexibility on the deadline?
No, the deadline is there. It's set.
Deadline is the
it's
deadline.
Sacrosanct. You're not supposed to vary that. You're supposed to comply and apply. Now, if the revenue gives an extension, that's a different thing. But really, by law, we're not even supposed to give that extension. We must have real fundamental reasons for us to give an extension. Because it's a federal law, right. It's not a state law.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Well, an inevitable question then is, or inevitable follow-up, what are the penalties? We've got to remind people what the penalties are if the deadline is missed.
Yes, so if you fail to file, for instance, we will take you to court, and upon conviction, you pay a fine of 50,000 naira. Also, we can go the other route and do a best of judgment assessment on you. Usually, the best of judgment is based on probably what you filed the previous year. And when we issue that assessment notice against you, you have 30 days to respond, to pay. And if you don't pay, we can go to a law court. And we don't need to go into an open court. All we need to do is go into the chambers of the judge. And once we lay all the records before him, we're likely to get that judgment against you. So it's not a good thing to be on the wrong side of the law.
Got to comply. Got to comply. As far as the rights that taxpayers have with respect to confidentiality of filing of their returns, how robust is that?
Oh, that's very robust because as a responsible organization, we subscribe to the NDPR, Data Privacy Act, and all data within our confines are treated as highly confidential. And this is the point we constantly, during our training for our officers, we overemphasize this point. It's got to be confidential. People have got to be able to come and tell the state that these are the economic activities I've been involved in, and this is the incomes that I earned. And if they do not feel that you're acting in a confidential way, then it might deter some people from coming. So confidentiality is key. And we have audits on data protection. We have an annual audit, and we have to be certified. We have a data protection officer who is assigned specifically to ensure that confidentiality is maintained at all levels.
All right, fantastic. I don't know if you want to give us any breaking news here today, but could taxpayers expect any changes or reforms to the tax laws this fiscal year or 2025?
Well, two things. One, these laws are federal laws, so we can hardly influence them.
Okay.
Secondly, we are all aware that the Commander-in-Chief has appointed Mr. Taiwo Ayodele, who used to be the head honcho at Price Waterhouse.
Yep.
So there's a committee called the Presidential Committee on Fiscal and Tax Reforms. So they're doing a lot of work right now. They're trying to harmonize taxes. They're looking at the ancient or archaic tax laws and trying to make amendments to them. So we expect a lot of good news on that front for taxpayers. I'm sure they'll be relieved to know that some of the taxes, that bring the multiple taxation conversation, will be dealt with. And he's presently talking from his interim report. He said that about 40, 50 taxes will be pruned down to single digit. So we're expecting the laws to come out sometime this year.
Okay. Now, as far as the channels that are available for Lagosians to get technical assistance with respect to filing taxes, what channels are available?
Okay, so we're customer-centric, of course, and we have a lot of channels that are open to assist taxpayers in filing their return. If they go to our e-tax channel, which is an end-to-end tax administration solution, it's very easy, etax.lrs.net. It opens up, there's a button that says My Returns. You click on the button and it's all set for you. It's very user-friendly, and there are also other support systems to assist people. For instance, there's a chat box that comes with it, and there's always answers to all your questions. It will guide you. If you're not so tech savvy and you want to physically come to our premises, we're trying to deter that. We want to eliminate physical contact with our staff. We want people to go online and try to file all their returns for themselves. But if there are people who have issues with doing that, they can walk into any of our 39 tax stations, and there's a desk in every tax station. We have an e-tax champion, and they attend to everybody. They will help you file. Of course, when it comes to putting your password in, they turn their faces. You will do all that yourself. But once they get into your page, with your guidance, they will do everything that you have for you. Now, if you don't want to come in physically, you can also call our contact center. We have a very virile and a very effective contact center. We have operators at the other end who will guide you step by step on how to complete your returns. So we have multiple channels.
Okay, fantastic.
People can just call.
Yeah.
And
Are you expecting to earn more? That's my final question for you. Are you expecting to earn more in taxes this year versus, we're in fiscal year 2024 versus are you expecting to earn more in 2023 than 22? No, what am I saying? 24 than 23, excuse me. 2024 versus 2023. Are you expecting to earn more in income, in tax revenues?
we definitely will earn. Every year has been almost like a revelation.
Yeah.
We are constantly breaking the records. And it's principally not by increasing the tax rates, but by bringing more people into the tax net and being very diligent about going about our work. So we have set targets, and we monitor these targets almost on a daily basis. And we're very confident that we will always do better than the previous period.
Lagos, that's the Lagos, number one, as always.
Of course, with the cooperation of the residents of Lagos,
oh, fair fight,
who appreciate what our good governor is doing.
Yeah.
You know, all the developmental projects are there, glaring. It's very easy to see.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are actually encouraged to come forward and pay their taxes. Without people paying their taxes, government has no revenue.
Exactly.
There's got to be domestic mobilization of resources to make Lagos,
remain number one.
Yes, to have Lagos of our dreams.
In IGR and so on. Mr. Ayodele Subair, Executive Chair of the Lagos Internal Revenue Service, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rotos. Thanks for having me.